What's up, Bulldogs? All right, we're gonna be talking about losing control, the fear of losing control, right? When the shit hits the fan, and it always does, everyone is looking for the strong man to be able to remain calm, to figure out what to do, okay, and to not lose control. You must always maintain control and be in control of yourself, of your emotions, of the situation, all right, of what's going on in front of you. That's what we're gonna be talking about in this video. If you guys are just joining me for the first time, I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to get the physique you want, how to get the girls you want, and how to go from the victim mindset to the Bulldog mindset. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, click the subscribe button. You can always unsubscribe later. Many of you will. And click the bell so you get notifications. Also, make sure you take the Bulldog quiz. It's up here in the cards. There's also a link down below. It'll give you your score from 0 to 100, let you know if you're a Bulldog, and I will help you to raise that score, but you got to take the quiz first and figure out where do you stand. All right, so I'm going to read this email that I got here. Hello, John. Would you like to make a video about fear of losing control? I would like to make a video about fear of losing. Yes, I would. Let's do that. I agree. Let's do it. All right. I mean, the fear of developing a mental breakdown. In your videos, you have clearly explained how the Stoic mindset works and that you should not depend on external factors. But I keep noticing that when I am in a relationship, I get delusional ideas that come from jealousy, inferiority complex, and the feeling that whatever I do, that I can't affect my mood. Okay, whatever I do, I can't affect my mood. All right. I'm always afraid that it will eventually turn into a condition that the healthcare would describe as psychosis, that I let myself go and can no longer control my actions. I always try to reassure myself that diseases in life are inevitable and that the loss must be taken. Okay, that's a fairly good attitude. But you will undoubtedly have been in the situation I am in now because you also push yourself to the limit. I must say that I have grown very much as a person because of your videos, more social, healthier, performance-oriented, and willing to enter into sexual relationships. Thank you for this. Okay, so a lot of things to sort of break down and unpack here. Let's start off with the whole idea of what he's facing here, this idea of he's got these delusional ideas that come from jealousy, inferiority complex, feeling you can't affect your mood, okay? So if you're feeling jealousy and inferiority complex, you need to deal with that and get that out, okay? You're not going to be able to repress that, like this feelings of jealousy and having an inferiority complex, because it's not going to be good. It is going to drive you potentially towards that psychosis, right? I look at it as, the way I view it is that it's like looking over the abyss, right? And it's like, you know, when you stare into the abyss stares back at you. I'm always cognizant that I could fall into that abyss, that I can't stare into that abyss for too long, that I can't get too far close to that edge, because that's like that edge of sanity. And you can lose that edge of sanity, of control, what he's talking about, if you go too far. And the way that you go too far is you emotionally go too far. You allow your emotions to master you. You sort of get lost into that, right? When I'm talking about staring into the abyss, I'm talking about going too far down an emotional path, thinking too hard about things, thinking about how pointless the world is, kind of a nihilistic viewpoint, thinking about what happens after you die and you're nothing. I mean, to some degree, some of those thoughts are good thoughts, to think about your own death, right? The Stoics said to meditate on your mortality. I think those are good to some degree. But what I'm saying is that you can get sucked in when you start to think about things like your depression or your jealousy, or you suppress those things and they're just internally brewing inside you. Instead, you have to let these things go, right? So you have to deal with emotion, guys. I did a video on this about the 3 ways to deal with emotion. Go check out that video if you haven't. There's a link up here in the cards. There's a link in the description below. All right. But something like jealousy, all right, you have to start to say, why am I jealous? What is causing me to be jealous? And probably it's very related to the inferiority complex. All right. And what can I do about it? Right? How can I let this thing go? How can I process this and say, okay, I feel jealous, and how can I let it go? Right? How do you let things go? It's a good question. You have to let go of an expectation first, because all of the emotions that we have are tied to expectations. It's like a tether. Okay. It's like this little rope that's tying us. And so it's like, okay, what is jealousy? What expectation is this tied to? If I go and unravel this rope, if I go to the end of this rope, where is it? Okay, maybe the reason why you're jealous is because over here, okay, there's this expectation, and there's this expectation that you should be better than everyone. That's a ridiculous expectation. You can't be better. You should get rid of that expectation. Okay, you don't need to be superior to everyone. So if you get rid of that expectation, maybe you won't have that jealousy. Or maybe that jealousy is coming from this expectation that no one should have more than you do, that you deserve the best. And to some degree, that's a good thought to have in your head, but it's not a good expectation to have, right? If you expect that to be true, that no one should have more than you, then you're going to have a problem. Okay, so what we want to do in order to prevent ourselves from losing control, from falling into this abyss, is we need to process and deal with all these things, right? I talk about this exercise. If you join the Bulldog Mindset membership, okay, one of the first lessons in the membership, it's called the standing in the mirror exercise. I've talked about this a few times. If you haven't joined, by the way, go click the link down below. There's also a link in the cards to join for $7 for the first month. You won't regret it. Trust me. There's a huge community of strong men in there. We got a Discord server, Facebook. I do weekly videos and lessons with homeworks, and we have a live Q&A. You want to be part of this community. It's the inner circle. All right. Anyway, I think one of the lessons, I'm talking about this standing in the mirror exercise, where you're basically evaluating yourself. Okay, I won't go over the whole thing here, but you're taking account of yourself. Okay, you need to take an account of yourself, an honest account of yourself, and understand where are your weaknesses. Where are these psychoses that are developing within you, and how can you let go of them? Okay, and you got to find what all of them are, right? Some of you, you've got something around, like you've been rejected by women at a young age. Okay. And you feel like this ugly duckling. And now, like, maybe you've had some success with women and you're just trying to prove that. So some of you guys that you got involved in pickup or game and stuff like that, because you needed to prove to yourself that you were an attractive man, that you could attract women, that women could like you, that you were lovable. Okay. You realize where that will drive you. Like that jealousy may be coming from that. The inferiority complex might be coming from that. Okay? Because you now need to get attention all the time, and you constantly need validation to pump yourself up. Otherwise, you fall back into that loser kid that hated himself and that didn't feel like he was worthy of love and worthy of human companionship, of female companionship. So what do you have to do? How do you get rid of that? You got to go deep. You got to go soul searching. You might have to read some books. You might have to read some philosophy. You might have to read Untethered Soul or Seed of the Soul, or some good books that will help bring that to the surface so that you can understand that. And maybe you have to become successful on your own right so that you stop valuing that. So when you really see your own value, see, a lot of the reason why a lot of you guys have these problems is because you're placing, you know how you have a center of gravity? Okay? You know how depending on where you move, like your center of gravity, and your center of gravity can be outside you. Well, a lot of you guys, your center of gravity is way over here. Okay, it's outside of you. Your center of worth, let's call it that. Okay, and so it's because you're bending over. Okay, you need to stand up straight, put those shoulders back. Okay, be a man, and make your center of gravity your center of value within yourself. It needs to come from here. And so if you're basing your value on external things and what other people tell you about yourself and how they react to you, do women like you? Do other people think you're cool? Then you're going to always be struggling with this stuff. And you're going to be closer to that abyss, because we talk about Stoic philosophy. It's interesting that the author of this email wrote about Stoic philosophy, because in a lot of ways, he understands it, but he's not digesting it. He hasn't really brought it into him. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because part of Stoic philosophy, a big part of it is, he even said it in the email. He said, in your videos, you have clearly explained how the Stoic mindset works, and they should not depend on external factors. Well, your biggest external factor is your self-worth, your self-value, your self-efficacy. Okay, I'm going to recommend a book that you guys should read called Psycho-Cybernetics. We'll put a link up in the cards in the description below as well. Okay, so self-efficacy. What is your self-perception, your self-image, your value? See, my value comes from me. See, I don't care if you like this video. I don't care if you thumbs down this video. I don't care if you don't watch this video. I don't care about any of that stuff. All that I care is that I feel like I'm giving you some valuable advice right now, that what I'm saying has value, and the work that I'm doing has value and meaning. I care that when I go and I do my run, I don't care if you think that it's slow or fast or whatever it is. I care that I put in the work. See, the thing about being pushed into the abyss is you have to be pliable. If you insist on standing near the edge and looking down, you better be fucking like a fucking rock. You better be in your horse stance. You know what I'm saying? All right? You better be where you're planted firmly into the ground, okay? And nothing can shake you or push you into the abyss, okay? And the way that you do that is by having your value be here. It's centered within you. It always emanates from you. So you have to build that up, because you always, and the more that you get sucked into emotion, right? This is why when I talk to guys that have anger problems, I'm like, wow, you're like, the more that you flirt with this anger and this self-denial and this bitterness, the closer that you get into that psychosis, that place where you'll never come back. That's falling into the abyss, where you'll never come back. And you should really be afraid of that, because if you lie to yourself enough, you will eventually become a different person. A person unable to understand or register the truth. That's why you have to clear your mind. You have to focus on the good stuff. You cannot dwell on the bad. You cannot have this victim mentality. Okay? You have to have your value system be inside you, not outside. You cannot be getting your validation. Now, don't get me wrong. Have I gone down this path? Yes, that's why I'm talking to you. When I first started on my journey, okay, believe me, I was this shy, nerdy kid. I was this kid that was picked on in school. I was not at all getting any kind of female attention, okay? I was unlovable, okay? I was unworthy in my mind. And I spent some time, once I figured out some things in life, I spent some time fighting. I spent some time beating up kids, okay, that had picked on me, okay? I spent some time doing all kinds of things with girls that just for my validation. But guess what? All the stuff I did, it never actually filled anything. It just made me, every single time I would have my conquest, I would say, was that luck? Was that really me? Did I really succeed? You know, whatever it was. I would come up with some rationale in my mind to say, well, you know, that's not quite enough. I still don't feel like I got enough validation there, right? Until I started to realize that I was doing things for the wrong reason. I had my value system outside of me. That's where the Stoic philosophy comes in. That's where the Stoic mindset comes in. That's where, when I started to integrate that, when I said, you know what, the person who I care about is me. Like the person whose opinion I care about is my opinion. It's not someone else's. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff. Like, no one can make me great. I want you guys to understand this. No one can make you great. You can only make yourself great. That's it. It has to be what you have done yourself and what you value yourself that makes you great. No one can crown you that. No one else can do it. Only you can. And at the same token, no one else can make you low. You lower yourself. You decide that you're worthless. You're the one who's responsible for the bad feelings that you have in your life. It's your responsibility. All of your feelings are your responsibility, but it's because you have allowed yourself to abuse yourself. So you want to stop? You want to stop the chain? You want to not fear losing control? All you have to do is stop valuing other people's opinions and their values more than your own. Your values need to be your prime values, and that's how you step into manhood. That's I've got another video on how to become a man. Go check out that video. There's two things, okay? The first one I'm not going to name here. Go watch the video. The second one is what I just said here, which is to make your life centered around your value system. No one can make you great.